Residents in Oklahoma could start seeing relief at the grocery store. I'm Anthony Saviello. I'll have more coming up.
Plus, the city of Miami discusses the future of the town's senior center. And
in Oklahoma, Wildlife Park is able to open weeks after receiving thousands of dollars in storm damage, thanks to the help of the community. I'm Samantha Walker, and I'll have that story coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. People in Oklahoma will save on their grocery bills starting today. KOAM's Anthony Saviello explains the elimination of the state's grocery tax.
A tax cut in Oklahoma could start making a difference for people in Oklahoma who have struggled to put groceries on the table. Back in February, Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt signing the 4.5% tax cut bill on groceries into law that will completely cut taxes off of groceries. That bill now in effect. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average family spent $5,702 on groceries in 2022. Governor Stitt says this bill could save families $60 a month on groceries that would total up to $720 in savings per year. There are exclusions that Oklahomans need to be aware of. For instance, this tax cut does not apply to clothes shopping, alcohol, or pre-made foods such as what you may find at a restaurant or your favorite fast food joint. Despite the exclusions, Oklahomans may start to see more bang for their buck and their fridges filling up.
Anthony, thanks. It's also important to note that the bill will prohibit the raising of grocery tax rates by local governments until July of 2025. Chief Meteorologist Doug Hitty joining us now with our first look at weather.
Yeah, and it definitely turned out to be a hot one for us today, all the way up to 99 degrees once again, well above our average high, 11 degrees above, and not far off the record of 103 set back in 2000. And our temperatures will slowly really drop off as we go through the evening hours, but we are going to be tracking some showers and thunderstorms later on tonight. As of right now, we look good, but if we go through time, go through the evening hours, showers and thunderstorms start picking up along and north of I-44. Everything kind of falls apart through the morning hours, so we're just going to have hit and miss showers to start the day. Once we get into the afternoon, scattered thunderstorms again start to pop up along the I-44 corridor and south, and we'll have scattered thunderstorms lasting into the evening hours. These chances for thunderstorms stick around into the holiday weekend. We're going to be talking about that here in just a bit.
All right, thanks, Doug. The electricity is back on in the community of Scotland after a storm tore through the area last night. The storm hit the areas of Dunwich and Carterville as well as Scotland at about 5:20. And the storm took down multiple trees and a shed and damaged several roofs. In Scotland, a sheet metal building at a trucking company was stripped of its metal. High winds also blew a semi-truck onto its side. Well, take a look at this brush pile fire today at the solid waste plant in Miami, Oklahoma. Officials say the city did not set the fire, and the fire chief says his department does not know how it started. Officials say the fire will have to burn out. And Oklahoma Wildlife Park is working to reopen just 2 weeks after receiving thousands of dollars in storm damage. But the park director says they're working to rebuild better than ever thanks to the community's help. KOAM's Samantha Walker has more.
This is just a bit of what the Creation Safari Wildlife Park saw when strong winds and severe storms swept through Ottawa County in mid-August. The storms caused severe damage to the park, such as destroying bird enclosures.
The majority of them was like complete destruction. They were just gone, laying out in the fields, to the east. And so, remarkably, the animals were all okay. No animals got hurt, but we're very, very fortunate that we didn't have animals injured and more damage to the park.
Tim Sappington, the park's owner and director, estimates the park received roughly $50,000 in damage from the storms.
Within an hour, people started messaging us and asking, how can we give to this? What do you guys need?
People from all across the community are coming together to help the wildlife park reach their goal of rebuilding bigger and better.
We had a really remarkable thing happen in a few days to follow. IS Customs, a construction company, has offered to bring their guys and rebuild our bird enclosures. And Wine.Nation has funded all of the materials for the bird enclosures.
Thanks to this community support, they're now able to open up right before their busiest weekend of the year.
We've come to expect that we live in a great community, and people reach out to help. You know, we try to reach out and help others, and others have reached out to help us. So we have an amazing community here.
Reporting in Wyandotte, Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
Tomorrow, the Creation Safari Wildlife Park will open for the first time since the storms. The Miami Senior Center officially turned itself over to the city of Miami tonight. They made the move due to a lack of funding. Now, the city considered taking legal action to ensure the Senior Center was transferred in accordance with their bylaws, but decided against doing so. The city discussed taking on various finances like fixing the roof and other things at their discretion.
For the city, we're just going to have to juggle a few things to get the budget squared away for the rest of the year to get it through, and then we'll budget it in just like any other facility going forward.
The city will allow Docs, the food delivering service, to remain at the Senior Center and continue serving senior citizens. The Granby, Missouri Police Department will soon have some new bulletproof vests. It's thanks to a $2,300 check from Hero Fund USA. The organization raises money to help first responders buy life-saving equipment. Granby PD officials say the vest will allow their officers to better serve the community, knowing they are better protected themselves.
They have helped us fund for ballistic vests for all my officers, which is a must in law enforcement this day and age. So it's helped us pay for our vests, which is greatly appreciated.
Hero Fund USA is based out of Blue Springs, Missouri. Coming up, the first batch of a new Mpox vaccine is shipped to Nigeria as world health officials hope to combat the spread of the disease. STIs, or sexually transmitted infections, it's a subject most don't want to talk about, especially young people. Choices Medical Services in Joplin wants to educate the community, especially young people, about the STI rate in our area and the nation. And as KOAM's Lonnie Walton shows us, the number of cases are alarming.
For the first time ever in our clinic's history in 2023, and we're on track for 2024, we're actually going to have higher numbers of syphilis-positive cases than gonorrhea. And
Misha Long is the Director of Nursing at Choices Medical Services in Joplin. She says young people make up half the cases reported.
Of those, gonorrhea, chlamydia, and then syphilis, that's 2.5 million cases in a single year. And the CDC says 50% of those cases, those new cases, would be in the ages 15 to 24. So high school to college age. Even though that percentage of our population is a small percentage, those individuals make up 50% of the new cases each year.
In our area, the numbers are even higher.
Missouri specifically is above the national average for HIV, syphilis, gonorrhea, and chlamydia for all of those infections.
Chelsea Delgado, Choices Prevention Service Director, says there are several reasons why these numbers are so high.
When you're dating and you're a teenager, you're not likely to enter into a marriage-like relationship. You're more likely to have several back-to-back relationships.
Before you jump into your next relationship, Long says it's a good idea to know your status.
At the end of the day, these statistics reflect people. And so we want to be able to serve people, serve them well, and make sure they are healthy and making healthier choices.
Reporting in Joplin, I'm Lonnie Walton, KOAM News.
And Choices Medical Services also helps people facing human trafficking situations. Now, they did not allow us to film at their regular location because they take pride in keeping their patient information confidential. Researchers say the most common symptom of long COVID is pain. A study at University College London found more than 1 in 4 of all long COVID patients experience symptoms like headache, joint pain, and stomach pain. The study also looked at other common long COVID symptoms. 18% said they experienced anxiety and depression, and 14% experienced fatigue. A healthy lifestyle can counteract the brain aging associated with diabetes. A study in the UK found people with type 2 diabetes or prediabetes who got a lot of exercise, avoided smoking, and avoided drinking in excess did not have accelerated brain aging. Poorly controlled diabetes can age a person's brain by as much as 4 years, which is a warning sign for dementia. A second world health emergency has been declared for Mpox since 2022, but a new vaccine could bring relief to African countries and stop the disease from spreading elsewhere. Fox's Chris DeMeo has more.
The first batch of Mpox vaccines arrived in Nigeria, one of several countries battling the disease after it was declared a global emergency once again earlier this month.
Today's handover ceremony symbolizes more than a transfer of vaccines. It exemplifies the power of international cooperation in addressing global health challenges and local health challenges.
The Democratic Republic of Congo, the epicenter of the disease, was passed over for the first batch, as U.S. officials say Nigeria will make the best use of the limited vaccines.
So there's a plan how to use these vaccines effectively. So that's very much why Nigeria was chosen to receive this first batch.
Mpox usually spreads through close skin-to-skin contact and has impacted more than 70 countries since it resurfaced in 2022, according to the World Health Organization. But new vaccinations and fast detection could help stall cases.
So your surveillance must improve to detect the cases. You confirm there, then you isolate the cases.
The new vaccine will be administered in 2 shots to those who have never received a smallpox vaccine and a 1-shot booster to those who have.
We are immensely grateful to the government and good people of the United States for this gesture of brotherhood.
Meanwhile, in the U.S., the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reports no marked changes in national cases within the last 6 months, after reaching more than 32,000 cases and 58 deaths since the outbreak began in 2022. U.S. efforts now turn to stopping the spread internationally.
We will continue to work with Nigeria on efforts to stop the spread of the monkeypox illness, and we will continue to look at how we can help Nigeria.
Chris DeMeo, Fox News.
Well, Doug is next with a complete look at your forecast, and later we'll see how Pitt State football is preparing for its season opener this weekend.
Well, of course, another hot one for us today. Temperatures right around 100 degrees. Official high was 99 degrees, like we've kind of seen all week long. Looking outside, nice shot of our Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex tower cam looking northeast right through downtown. Look at this wind shift line and that temperature contrast out across central Kansas. Cold fronts heading toward us. Now it's still warm. We're upper 70s to lower 80s, but as that front heads toward us, it's going to do a couple things. One, it's going to cool our temperatures down just a bit, but also give us some rain chances, which we need. Our new drought tracker is out. You can see our southwestern counties, a moderate drought. Pittsburgh, Joplin, Neosho, down toward Table Rock, also a moderate drought, so we could use a little bit of rain. Some isolated thunderstorms earlier this evening. Pretty calm overall for us right now. A few little thunderstorms in our northern counties. But we are tracking a big line of showers and thunderstorms out across central and western parts of Kansas. These are going to fall apart as they work in, but we are going to get scattered thunderstorms in here later on tonight along and north of I-44 into the morning hours. Not a huge deal, but they are going to be out there. Let me take you through time. Let's go through the night. Scattered thunderstorms trying to press in, especially after midnight. Here's 5:30 in the morning. So a little bit of a wet start on our Kansas side. As we go through the morning, you can see our thunderstorms kind of fall apart. So most of us stay dry through the morning. And then as we get into the afternoon, thunderstorms will start to fire along I-44 back into northeastern parts of Oklahoma. But most of these storms are going to be along and south of I-44, but they could be a little bit stronger. So we'll keep our eyes on these. So this is late tomorrow evening, scattered thunderstorms kind of start to fall apart as we get into Saturday morning. We'll start Saturday, scattered showers along I-44, And then any thunderstorms that really pop up late in the day, I think are going to be in our far southern counties. So Saturday is looking a little bit better as we get, meaning rainfall wise, because of course it's the holiday weekend. And then overall, I think Sunday looks pretty good. All right, rainfall amounts, we'll have to see where those heavier lines really kind of fire up. A lot of us will pick up a quarter, maybe a half an inch of rain within this next storm system. 73 to start, 85 by noon. I think our high temp right around 89 degrees. And let's take a tour. Let's go up to Stockton. We're going to go Saturday, the most busiest day. A lot of people camping. Lake. I think Stockton looks pretty good. Grand Lake, we are going to have a couple hit and miss afternoon thunderstorms. A little better chance once you get over toward Table Rock from Branson to Shell Knob to pick up a few random thunderstorms. Also Beaver Lake, some random thunderstorms as well. But temperatures through the holiday weekend shaping up pretty good, at least into the 80s instead of pressing 100 like we have seen all week long. 89 on Friday, 84 Saturday. Very slight chance for a pop-up storm Sunday, a high of 89. Labor Day looks good, 85, and then we hold into the 80s all the way through next week.
Coming up, Labor Day travel kicks off.
Millions of Americans hit the road this weekend as they celebrate the unofficial end of summer. I'm William Lajeunesse in Los Angeles. Details coming up.
Alarming new details in the nationwide listeria outbreak linked to recalled Boar's Head deli meats. Documents show federal inspectors flagged dozens of violations at the Boar's Head plant in Virginia linked to the recall, including mold, mildew, and insects repeatedly found at the facility. The number of deaths has jumped to 9, making this the largest outbreak of listeria since the 2011 outbreak caused by cantaloupe. The official Labor Day travel period kicked off today, and more than 17 million people are expected to pass through airports this weekend. If you're driving, you'll see lower prices at the pump. Fox News national correspondent William Lajeunesse has more.
Whether you're traveling by plane or car, this Labor Day weekend expect delays with millions heading out of town.
Just gonna spend the weekend at Lake Michigan and hang out.
Going to see some high school friends from Ohio back home.
Travel this holiday weekend is up from last year. Domestic bookings increasing 9%, according to AAA. Travel company Hopper says that's due in part to airfares falling about 5%. Analysts say travelers should expect long lines.
I was thinking they were going to be busy, so we got here, a half hour normally, like earlier than normal. But it's so far so good.
While the TSA expects more than 17 million to fly this weekend, even more will be driving. AAA advises getting on the road early or late to avoid getting caught in commuter traffic.
Avoid those afternoon hours. That anytime after 1 p.m., that's when you get a lot of congestion, especially in the major metros.
The one silver lining, gas prices are down $3.36 on Thursday, 46 cents less than a year ago.
A lot of that is driven by pretty sizable drops in the crude oil market. Oil prices really driving prices at the pump.
Experts say lower demand and a quiet hurricane season kept oil prices down. In Los Angeles, William Lajeunesse, Fox News.
Up next, a look at the mysterious celestial objects recently captured by the James Webb Space Telescope. Astronomers have spotted 6 rogue worlds using the James Webb Space Telescope. Rogue worlds are cosmic objects that do not orbit stars. Now, celestial bodies are slightly bigger than Jupiter. Mysterious objects are still considered rare across the Milky Way, and the observations are shedding light on how stars and planets form across the universe. The Webb telescope found them in a star-forming nebula, or a cloud of gas and dust, 960 light years away. The findings are part of a study accepted for publication in the Astronomical Journal. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports is coming your way. The Donald Trump campaign is embroiled in another controversy for an incident at Arlington National Cemetery. Plus, the Supreme Court deals another blow to President Biden's plans for student loan forgiveness.
You're watching the 4 states' most watched news.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. Controversy over an incident involving former President Trump's campaign team during an event at Arlington National Cemetery continues to escalate. A staffer is now accused of pushing someone who worked there when they were told not to take pictures in a restricted area. Fox News correspondent Connor Hansen has the story.
3 years after 13 American soldiers were killed during the withdrawal from Afghanistan, former President Trump attended a ceremony with their families. Trump posted a video to TikTok showing him at a wreath-laying ceremony, then standing near the graves in Arlington Cemetery. The campaign is being criticized for filming on the hallowed grounds where political activity is not allowed. The Army says a cemetery employee was even pushed after confronting a campaign staffer over the rule.
What the Army said is that an ANC employee who attempted to ensure adherence to the rules of the ANC was pushed aside.
An Army spokesperson said, quote, "This incident was unfortunate, and it is also unfortunate that the ANC employee and her professionalism has been unfairly attacked." The Trump campaign says they had permission to film, and the former president was invited by the families. When asked, Trump's running mate J.D. Vance attempted to turn the issue on Vice President Kamala Harris.
I think the right person to ask is the Gold Star families who invited Donald Trump and lost a loved one because of Kamala Harris's failed policies. Were they happy to have the President of the United States there? And they would say, absolutely. Thank God somebody showed up. They wish Kamala Harris would have showed up. And she didn't.
The Trump campaign took further criticism after one family of a former Green Beret saw his grave in a Trump photo. The family released a statement saying the sacred graves should be, quote, honored and respected accordingly. The Army says the alleged pushing was reported to police, but the employee decided not to press charges. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
Well, another setback for the Biden administration in its bid to lower student loan debt. The Supreme Court has decided, at least for now, the latest multi-billion-dollar plan cannot take effect. The Education Secretary said despite the rulings, the Biden administration has forgiven more than $170 billion for more than 5 million American borrowers. And the battle to keep going is not over. Well, a new warning from China following a series of high-profile meetings aimed at lowering military tensions with the U.S. Fox News correspondent Alex Hogan has more.
The U.S. military is turning its attention back to the Pacific. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan visiting Beijing on Thursday, holding rare meetings with his Chinese counterpart and President Xi Jinping. The Chinese officials issuing a new warning, telling the U.S. to stop supplying weapons and tactical support to Taiwan, and also discuss China's recent naval actions in the South China Sea, which some regional allies say is part of a broader Chinese plan to dominate the region.
I did raise our concerns about some of the destabilizing actions that have taken place, including the ramming of Coast Guard vessels and unsafe intercepts.
But both sides are also stressing these meetings were aimed at easing tensions that have escalated in recent months. And Sullivan reportedly discussed the possibility of a meeting between Xi and President Biden at the G20 summit later this year.
In this changing and turbulent world, countries need solidarity and coordination, not division or confrontation.
At the same time, the Chinese military kicked off a new series of live fire drills, and the commander of the U.S. Pacific Fleet met with his counterpart in Manila, promising a quick response if China's provocations turn violent.
We certainly have prepared a range of options.
On Monday, thousands of service members from the U.S. and 9 other countries began 2 weeks of joint military drills in Indonesia. These drills are aimed at boosting operational skills and increasing the partnership between these countries as China strengthens its influence in the region. In London, Alex Hogan, Fox News.
A bit later, a terror plot foiled by U.S. forces.
New details in the foiled terror attack against Taylor Swift's concerts in Austria. I'm Rebecca Castor in Washington with what the CIA is revealing about the plot.
Well, of course, another hot one for us today. Temperatures right around 100 degrees. Official high was 99 degrees, like we've kind of seen all week along. Looking outside, nice shot of our Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex tower cam looking northeast right through downtown. Look at this wind shift line and that temperature contrast out across central Kansas. Cold fronts heading toward us. Now it's still warm. We're upper 70s to lower 80s, but as that front heads toward us, it's going to do a couple things. One, it's going to cool our temperatures down just a bit, but also give us some rain chances, which we need. Our new drought tracker is out. You can see our southwestern counties, a moderate drought. Pittsburgh, Joplin, Neosho, down toward Table Rock, also a moderate drought, so we could use a little bit of rain. Some isolated thunderstorms earlier this evening. Pretty calm overall for us right now. A few little thunderstorms in our northern counties. But we are tracking a big line of showers and thunderstorms out across central and western parts of Kansas. These are going to fall apart as they work in, but we are going to get scattered thunderstorms in here later on tonight along and north of I-44 into the morning hours. Not a huge deal, but they are going to be out there. Let me take you through time. Let's go through the night. Scattered thunderstorms trying to press in, especially after midnight. Here's 5:30 in the morning. So a little bit of a wet start on our Kansas side. As we go through the morning, you can see our thunderstorms kind of fall apart. So most of us stay dry through the morning. And then as we get into the afternoon, thunderstorms will start to fire along I-44 back into northeastern parts of Oklahoma. But most of these storms are going to be along and south of I-44, but they could be a little bit stronger. So we'll keep our eyes on these. So this is late tomorrow evening, scattered thunderstorms kind of start to fall apart as we get into Saturday morning. We'll start Saturday, scattered showers along I-44, and then any thunderstorms that really pop up late in the day, I think are going to be in our far southern counties. So Saturday is looking a little bit better as we get, meaning rainfall wise, because of course it's the holiday weekend. And then overall, I think Sunday looks pretty good. All right, rainfall amounts, we'll have to see where those heavier lines really kind of fire up. A lot of us will pick up a quarter, maybe a half an inch of rain within this next storm system. 73 to start, 85 by noon. I think our high temp right around 89 degrees. And let's take a tour. Let's go up to Stockton. We're going to go Saturday, the most busiest day. A lot of people camping. Lake. I think Stockton looks pretty good. Grand Lake, we are going to have a couple hit and miss afternoon thunderstorms. A little better chance once you get over toward Table Rock from Branson to Shell Knob to pick up a few random thunderstorms. Also Beaver Lake, some random thunderstorms as well. But temperatures through the holiday weekend shaping up pretty good, at least into the 80s instead of pressing 100 like we have seen all week long. 89 on Friday, 84 Saturday. Very slight chance for a pop-up storm Sunday, a high of 89. Labor Day looks good, 85, and then we hold into the 80s all the way through next week.
Thanks, Doug. Well, the University of Missouri Plant Diagnostic Clinic is offering free oak tree testing for deadly diseases like oak wilt through the end of the year. Now, Nicolette Zangara tells us what signs to look for and how to send in a sample.
This initiative is a combined effort between the University of Missouri and the Missouri Department of Conservation.
The main goal with this program is that the diseases that they are testing for right now will spread to nearby oak trees.
They're testing for oak wilt and bacterial leaf scorch.
Most of the time, oak wilt is vectored or carried from tree to tree by insects. So it's really hard to track how the disease is spread from tree to tree, but once your tree contracts oak wilt, it's pretty much a done deal. Bacterial leaf scorch is another one, but it's bacterial instead of fungal, obviously, but you'll see on it that the leaves will just, like middle of summer, just turn brown and start falling off everywhere.
If your oak tree is showing signs of bacterial leaf scorch, there are some key things that you need to do to ensure the best sample for testing. The first thing is getting a Ziploc bag and a wet paper towel. That's going to keep the leaves nice and fresh while they're in shipment. You're going to need 20 to 30 leaves, and make sure that the stems are still attached. That is one of the most important parts that they'll look at for testing.
Well, they're testing different parts of the leaf for the bacteria that cause bacterial leaf scorch, and sometimes they're concentrated in that leaf stem. So it's important to send a good sample in so that they can have that plant tissue to test.
This saves the average homeowner $25 per test. But Boyer says it helps the arborists too.
If the university is going to test this stuff for free, why not do it? The results that they're going to get from this testing is going to benefit all of us in the arboriculture community because it's data that we normally don't get.
Well, coming up in sports, Pittsburgh State football previews its season opener against Ferris State. Plus, the St. Louis Cardinals try to finish their series against the Padres with a win. John Dales has those stories and more up next.
Pittsburgh State football has its Week 0 game this Saturday. The Gorillas open up the 2024 season with a top 10 battle against Ferris State on Saturday night. Now that's a night game with special alternate black uniforms, which has all of Pittsburgh fired up.
Yeah, I love the atmosphere of night games, especially here in Pittsburgh. The atmosphere is always crazy. I just think for us guys, just kind of waiting around all day, ready to play the game is kind of some of that stuff that seeps in. But no, we're ready for a great atmosphere, and it's always that here playing in front of our home crowd at night.
They're ready. They've been preparing for this game. Obviously, I think that's the challenge as a coach, is obviously to keep them focused on the present, the moment, the today. There's a lot of guys that played in that game a few years ago that have really been motivated, for this game for the last few months, and I think that's probably been our biggest challenge as a staff, is to just keep them focused on today.
Well, this will be the first game in the Tom Anthony era in Pittsburgh. The first-year head coach gets to face the number 3 team in the nation in his first contest as a head coach. We're excited to bring you coverage of this one on Saturday. Kickoff in the Jungle, scheduled for 7 o'clock p.m. Of course, we'll bring you those highlights later that night. Over to Major League Baseball, the Cardinals are wrapping up a series against the Padres this afternoon. After losing the first 2, they won yesterday, and a victory today would bring the Redbirds' record back up to 500 on the season. Padres at the Cardinals, third innings where we pick it up, 1-0 Cards, and Paul Goldschmidt hits this pitch all the way to the wall. 1 run's going to come in. He gets into second. It's 2-zip Cardinals. We go ahead to the 5th. Jackson Merrill gets into this one from Sonny Gray, deep to center. That's gone, his 20th of the year. Gray gave up just that 1 run through 6 innings, though. Padres down 2-1, 6th inning. Mason Wynn connects on this pitch, deep to left. That's gone for a solo shot. His 12th home run of the season. Cardinals win it 4-1. Their record improves to 67-67 on the year. That's it for sports. We're back with more news after this.
There are new details in the foiled terrorist attack planned against a Taylor Swift concert in Vienna. The CIA now says they saved the day. The suspects planned to kill thousands and were connected to ISIS. And as Fox's Rebecca Castor reports, it was our intelligence agencies who helped foil the plot.
Taylor Swift wrapped the European leg of her Eras tour last week, but not before narrowly avoiding tragedy after authorities foiled a planned terror attack against her shows in Vienna earlier this month.
They were plotting to kill a huge number, tens of thousands of people at this concert, including, I'm sure, many Americans.
Speaking at an intelligence summit Wednesday, the deputy director of the CIA revealed new details about the terror plot, including it was his agency that warned Austrian authorities.
I can tell you within my agency, I'm sure in others, there were people who thought that was a really good day. Not just the Swifties in my workforce.
3 suspects are in custody, and authorities say the mastermind, a 19-year-old Austrian man, was inspired by the Islamic State. They believe he was planning to attack outside the stadium with knives or homemade explosives.
It's actually really sad that this is actually the world we live in. This concert used to be a safe space for everyone, and now it's just a threat.
All 3 of Swift's Vienna concerts were canceled after the plot was discovered. On Instagram, the pop star said, "The reason for the cancellations filled me with a new sense of fear and a tremendous amount of guilt because so many people had planned on coming to those shows. But I was also so grateful to the authorities because thanks to them, we were grieving concerts and not lives." Around 65,000 fans were expected inside the stadium for Taylor Swift's Vienna shows, with another 30,000 expected to gather outside. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
Well, coming up, we'll run down the list of what's new in theaters and on streaming services. From a presidential biopic on the big screen to the return of a hit comedy series on streaming. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin with a look at this week's new releases.
You know what you have to do. Dennis Quaid and Penelope Ann Miller lead the biopic Reagan as former President Ronald Reagan and First Lady Nancy Reagan.
This is not a political movie, but it is a biopic, and it is a story about these iconic people's lives, how this man became president, and it's a love story, and it's funny, and it's, I think, moving at the end.
Might get a little crazy out there today.
The crime thriller 1992 is set against the LA riots after the Rodney King verdict and follows one father and son rebuilding a relationship while another plots a dangerous heist. Tyrese Gibson, Christopher Emmanuel, Scott Eastwood, and the late Ray Liotta star.
We have been in space for nearly 2 years.
Casey Affleck and Lawrence Fishburne lead the psychological thriller Slingshot, centered around an astronaut struggling to hold on to reality during a possibly compromised mission to Saturn's moon, Titan.
You got 10 days to whip these boys into shape.
Based on a true story, You Gotta Believe is about an underdog team who make it to the 2002 Little League World Series after dedicating the season to a teammate's ailing father.
1, 2...
Plus, the zombie comedy Shaun of the Dead returns to the big screen to celebrate its 20th anniversary.
Father, we ask that you cleanse and sanctify us.
On Netflix is Lee Daniels' The Deliverance, with Andra Day, Glenn Close, Anjanou Ellis-Taylor, and Monique. The supernatural thriller follows a family in a mysterious house where a mother must face down her demons to save her children's souls.
This script is amazing.
Plus, from New York to Hollywood, the Arconia trio have more mysteries to solve with Only Murders in the Building, back for Season 4 on Hulu. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
I love that show. That's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We're going to leave you with video of a volcano erupting in Iceland. Have a great night and an even better tomorrow.